G'day guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about sway or excessive lateral movement in your golf swing, why it's hurting you, and what we can do to correct that. G'day guys, my name is Danny Bird and I'm a PJ professional based at the Handicap Golf Club in Southeast Queensland, Australia. And as discussed, today we're going to be looking at excessive sway or lateral movement in your golf swing. Now it's key to understand, this isn't a deal breaker. It's not something that we should be thinking, oh well, because you laterally move, that you are going to be unable to hit a golf ball. That is not the case at all. So let's just get that very clear. However, if you're going to have lateral movement off the golf ball and back to the golf ball, we have to have a couple of things that match up quite pretty much ideally. So look, matchup number one, if you find yourself laterally moving off of the golf ball, you're going to need to have very, very good timing. Now I can say this because for about 15 years or so, I would laterally shift. And one of my very first golf coaches said to me at the time, in order to continue to sway for the rest of your golf career, you're going to have immaculate timing. I was stupid enough to think, no, that's fine. I hit golf balls every day. I'll be fine. He was spot on. You absolutely have to be able to time the movement of how to get back to point of contact. Just being slightly off can be the difference between a fat shot, a thin shot, club face being open, club face being closed. Lots of additional moving parts required in order to, get that club to match up. That's number one. Number two, guys, you need to ensure that we get our body back to the golf ball. Now this is a real big one. I often see players move off the golf ball and I call it a lazy swing. They almost kind of get lazy and they don't get back to the golf ball, so then they end up hanging back. And again, we get all of these really poor outcomes. So if you're going to have lateral movement, you have to have those two things working for you. You have to have very, very good timing, and you have to ensure that you're getting back to the golf ball and into a finish that's posted up on your left side in order to give yourself the best chance to hit the golf ball well. So let's talk about the reasons why we tend to see lateral movement from a lot of players. Now, number one, I hear players say about trying to get a really, really big shoulder turn. Now, what you tend to see from a lot of recreational players is when we talk about increasing that shoulder turn, they laterally move off of the golf ball. They sway off of the golf ball because they're trying to get this left shoulder so far around that they end up pushing away from the golf ball, and we get that lateral movement. We also see when we talk to players and they're trying to move their weight to their right side and their left because they've heard that the weight should transfer from right to left. Now that is correct, but it's also a misconception of how that weight's moving. What we tend to see with players when we hear the phrase, the weight transfers from the right side to the left side, is the weight transfers from the right side, and now we've got this huge lateral sway, and they're trying to get themselves back. That isn't what we mean by the weight transferring, and we're going to discuss that further. Okay, so look, let's talk the correction required. Now, the easiest way to think about, reducing this lateral movement, to reduce this excessive sway in the golf swing, is to feel like we're turning up a spiral staircase. And what do I mean by that? If you imagine we've got a spiral staircase, which I'll show you a picture right now, what we want is for the hands here to be traveling up the stairs. I can create my rotation. My weight stays centralized. I turn my body in the same fashion as which the stairs are working their way up. That's going to ensure that we're going to stay centralized over the golf ball. We are going to see that pressure and that weight transfer because from my setup position here, as I work myself up that spiral staircase, my pressure is now shifting into my right foot here. I can feel it shifting across to my right side. Then when I get to the top and I work into my downswing, my pressure is now shifting onto my left side. So that's what we mean when we say to players is that the pressure should shift from right side to left side is in that fashion. It shouldn't be a lateral shifting of that pressure. So how do we go about fixing that sway? How do we reduce it? Guys, this is a really good practice drill that I'll get you guys to do. All you need to do is grab yourself a golf towel, okay? We're going to fold it in half, we'll fold it in half again, and then for good measure we'll fold it once more time in half. Okay, so now we've got a towel that sits approximately an inch or so off the ground. We're going to place it on the ground underneath our right foot. So when I set up to the golf ball here, my right foot feels ever so slightly above my left. That's perfectly fine. Because then as I work into this backswing, we're going to try to keep the pressure down and inward on the inside of my right foot, okay? So just below my right ankle there, on the inside of my right foot. As I start my backswing, I'm going to feel like I'm pushing pressure down and through this part of my foot. And the reason being is that as I push pressure down, it will stop me from laterally moving. It's going to enable me to work that swing up that spiral staircase there. And as we work into the downswing here, I'm then free to have that pressure transfer over. Now, what's really important, in order to do this effectively and to do this well, I would suggest that you start by making some half golf swings and preferably put the golf ball on a tee, because then when we get ourselves into this setup position here, if we have the golf ball teed up, we can work very slowly to ensure we stay centralized, and then we can work down and just feel like we're going to hit some long range chip shots. It's important to understand that to get rid of, to reduce that lateral movement, the training drill that we do has to be very, very precise. The more precise the training drill, the far more likely we are to actually see that movement pattern change. Okay, so let's talk time frame. How long can we expect it to take for this sort of movement pattern to change? Realistically, guys, somewhere between 3 and 6 months. That's what I've seen with players I've worked with. It's what I've experienced with my own personal swing changes. The problem we get is that when players start to see some improvement, they begin to lose focus. They stop doing the work the way they're supposed to do it, and they feel like they're already where they need to be, and so they move on to the next task. Should that happen, you're very likely to see that you're going to fall back into your old ways, and that sway and lateral movement's going to reoccur. So give yourself between 3 and 6 months of solid work, and you should see that that sway almost completely disappears out of the swing. And any that you do have, it's going to be very marginal, it's going to be very manageable and very pliable when out on the golf course. As always, guys, I appreciate you taking time to watch today's video, and I do hope that you found this particularly helpful for your game, and we should see you guys improving your ball striking. As always, don't forget to like the video. Ensure you subscribe so you do not miss out when my videos get released each week. Guys, feel free to comment. As you'll see in previous videos, I'm more than happy to engage in comments with people, answer questions, whether it be related to the current video or whether it be related to just golf in general. I'll be more than happy to try to offer up some help for your game. Don't forget to go and check out the online academy. Over on my website, you're going to see a series of golf courses that you can go through to help improve your game, work at your own pace, learn stage by stage, bit by bit, the appropriate way to build a chipping action or a putting action, all the way through to games and training drills that you can do to help you improve your game. Guys, until next time, happy golfing.